I forget his title.
You know him to be former military.
Yes.
Did you know Rob Baker to be former military as well?
Yes.
Did Baker ever talk to you and use the phrase protocol, those kind of words?
Every now and again I would hear that.
Did you know what it meant?
Not at the time.
When you say not at the time, do you know what it means now?
Yes.
What does it mean to you?
Protocol is procedure, how things are supposed to go, how things are supposed to go.
How things are supposed to go?
Yeah.
As in advanced planning?
Yes.
Did you know Birdsong to work for Homeland Security?
Yes.
But you didn't know what he did necessarily, specifically?
No, I didn't really ask.
Okay. Are you, well, up until your arrest, were you still in contact with Alfred Birdsong?
Yes.
How so?
Just phone call or text.
Do you know, does he still live in Las Vegas?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Do you know where he lives?
Texas.
Texas?
Texas.
Okay. The whole time that you said phone and text, is that correct?
Yes.
So you talked to him live on the phone and you text him?
Yes.
Does he still have his same 702 number?
I believe so.
Okay. And that was the number you contacted him on, 702? Okay. Did you, well, let me ask you this. In 2008 then, did you, when you left LA, where did you move?
Anchorage, Alaska.
Why did you move to Anchorage, Alaska?
Change of scenery, help my brother.
Why did you need to help your brother?
Well, he needed some help with my nephews, so that's what I did.
Did anything happen between you and Robert Baker that caused you to move to Anchorage?
No, I don't think so.
So your relationship was fine when you left?
Yeah, I would say yes.
When you moved to Anchorage then in 2000, well, what year was that? I'll let you answer. Was that 2008?
Yes.
Did you maintain contact with Baker?
Yes.
Did you talk to him on the phone?
Yes.
Did you text with him?
Yes.
That same number we already talked about?
Yes.
Did you ever come to visit him in Los Angeles?
Yes.
When you came to visit him in Los Angeles, did you ever go then on a road trip to Las Vegas?
Yes.
When you moved to Alaska, did you get married in Alaska?
No.
When did you get married?
November 21.
And in November 2021, that's when you married Chloe?
Yes.
Did Chloe live in Alaska with you then at some point?
Yes.
What years did she live with you in Alaska?
(2017) until we moved.
And at some point you moved from Alaska to Washington, correct?
Yes.
All right. Your cell phone then, were you using a regular cell phone then? And by regular, I mean not a burner phone or anything of that nature, just a regular cell phone. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Was your number 907?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On October 2nd, when you were arrested on October 2nd of 2024 then, can you explain how that occurred?
I was on my way to work. When I got pulled over. I was being followed too close, and I tried to get out of their way. But when they got right behind me, I felt like I was getting ready to get pulled over, and I was like, well, maybe I was driving a little faster than I should have been. And then they pulled me over, I went through their necessary procedures, told me I had a warrant for my arrest. I was a little shocked, and then they pulled me out of the car, handcuffed me, and put me in the back of the patrol car.
When they pulled you over and said you had a warrant for your arrest, at that point, did anyone tell you what that warrant was for, specifically?
No.
Okay. Did you know what it was for?
I had an idea.
What was your idea?
This situation that we're here today.
So it had been some years. When you say the situation, you're referring to the killing of Fabio Sementilli?
Yes.
Okay. In the intervening years, though, had anything, you ever had any problems with law enforcement from January of 2017 until the time that you were pulled over on October 2nd of 2024?
No, ma'am.
After they arrested you, they put you in a patrol car, and did they take you then to the Washington or the Vancouver Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
When you got there, then were you given the opportunity to speak to some detectives?
Yes, ma'am.
Are they right here in court, Detectives Byers and Farrell?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they put you into then a cell, locked into a cell with another person inside?
Yes, ma'am.
Did that person appear to you to be an inmate? Or I should say somebody that, when I say inmate, somebody that also is in custody?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he introduce himself as Willie Boyd?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you kind of tell us what occurred when you first got into the cell, how you met this individual inside?
He kept talking to me. I didn't want to talk to nobody.
And what was he talking about?
His situation. Talked about how cold it was in there. Asked me what I was in for. I didn't want to talk to nobody.
And what's going through your head at this time?
A lot of shame. Lots of shame. But I also don't know. Divorce. Lost a job. Disappointment from my mentees. How many people I hurt because of this. Just a lot. A lot to process.
Okay. And as you're absorbing this, somebody's trying to talk to you. So did you know at that time that it was an undercover person that was placed there by the detectives?
No, not at the time.
At some point then, did Detective Farrell come to the door of the cell that you're in and tell you for the first time that it was a warrant for a homicide out of Los Angeles?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know what he was talking about at that time then?
Everything kind of started coming back to me. I had forgotten a lot up until that point.
Do you remember what Detective Farrell told you at the very beginning?
Mr. Austin, look, you seem like a nice guy. You know why you're here. It's very important that you be very honest with us. And then I remember him showing me the pictures. He said, we know you were there, so you need to be honest with us.
What pictures did he show you?
He showed me pictures of Mr. Baker and myself jogging, and black Porsche.
You recognized yourself in the photo jogging?
I did.
Exhibit 19, and I'm not saying this exhibit, but is that the photo or a copy of the photo that Detective Farrell showed you?
Yes, ma'am.
The person in the front right here in the green, who is that?
That's Mr. Baker.
And the person in the back with the hood, the darker hood, who is that?
That is myself.
So when he showed you that photograph, you recognized it?
Yeah.
How did you recognize that? From what?
Oh, I recognized it from the green sweatshirt first. And then all of LA has red curves. So that's what I recognized from it, about it.
Well, did you recognize it from being in a particular location?
Yes.
Where was this?
Los Angeles?
Okay, I guess my question is, tell us at this point, what are you guys doing right here?
We are on the way up to jog to the victim's house.
And do you have a knife at this point?
I did.
To your knowledge, does Baker have a knife at this point?
He did.
And what were you going up to the victim's house to do at this time?
So on our way up to, he was on our way up to her, to kill him. To kill him, yeah.
Kill him?
Yes.
We'll go through that in a moment. Exhibit 19 also, this is page 9 in the corner. The first one was page 7 in the corner on exhibit 19. This Porsche, is this a photo that Detective Farrell showed you as well when you said a Porsche?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What's depicted here? Did you ride in that Porsche?
Yes, ma'am.
Seeing that photo right there, are you in that car at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you seated?
In the passenger seat with my head down.
Who was driving the car?
Mr. Baker.
And when is this in time? What's happening here?
He's driving away.
Away from what?
He's driving away from a murder scene.
This is when you both left?
Yes.
After Detective Farrell showed you those photographs then, did you remain in the cell to think about what he had just shown you?
Yes.
Did you then talk to your cellmate at that point about anything?
A little bit.
What did you tell him? Or what did you say?
He asked me, he started asking me a barrage of questions. And then he asked me was I was there, and I was like, yeah, I was there. And then he encouraged me to tell them the truth. And he asked me if I had a record. I was like, no. And then I remember saying none of that matters. None of the work that I did matters.
Did he ask you if you recall about any of the other people involved in this?
Yeah, he asked me, but I didn't want to say too much because I didn't know I didn't know why he was asking me so many questions. He was trying to be my friend or something like this. It's not a situation we need to be friends about. I remember saying that, I was there, and he was like, who's the other dude? And told him who he was.
Who did you tell him it was?
Mr. Baker.
Well, do you know if you used that name at the time?
I used I told him my uncle. He's like, "That's your uncle?" I was like, "Well, not biological, but."
So at this point, Detective Farrell has only come to the jail or the cell door, showed you these photographs, and now things are racing.